and racially motivated violent extremism cases fall within the FBI's counterterrorism division within our domestic terrorism section. The FBI is providing all necessary resources, both locally and nationally, to investigate this matter. We will not stop until every lead is investigated, every piece of evidence is analyzed, and until we understand how and why this horrible tragedy and crime occurred. Our thoughts and our prayers are with the family and the victims who died today.
I'm Trini Ross. I'm the United States Attorney for the Western District of New York. I want to start by saying my thoughts and heartfelt prayers go to the family, the victims, and the community that had to suffer this great and unnecessary tragedy today. We're working with our state, federal, and local law enforcement partners, as you've already heard from, to ensure that justice is brought to this community, to those victims, to their families. The United States Attorney's Office will be investigating this case along with our law enforcement partners as a hate crime and domestic violent extremism. I'm in touch with the highest levels of the Department of Justice. Resources will be put behind this investigation. Whatever we need, we will not stop until justice is brought to this community, those families, and the victims of this horrific crime. I can assure you, as the United States Attorney, I will bring whatever resources we need to this community to make sure that justice is done. This should never happen to anyone in any community. It surely shouldn't happen on a beautiful Saturday when people are just shopping and going through normal life events. We will ensure that the perpetrator of this victim is given justice, and justice will be done for this community.
Relax. All right. Let me first start out by saying thank you. Thank you to all my partners in law enforcement here, from the federal, state, local level. The amount of work that's been done so far has been extraordinary. The amount of information that's been gathered so far has been outstanding. And for everyone involved here, from Trini to BPD to the state police to the sheriff, I cannot thank enough. We here in Erie County, though, are not waiting. I have already called Judge Hanna to come downtown immediately and arraign this individual. So within the next hour, this individual will be arraigned on a charge of murder in the first degree. I am not even going to mention his name right now, one, because the arraignment hasn't occurred, but more importantly, I don't want to give him any celebrityism at all right now. I don't want to give him anything right now that puts attention on him and the alleged, and again I say alleged, despicable acts that were committed today in our great city. So I'm not going to give you his name right now. I'll give it to you after I issue a press release after he's been arraigned. I anticipate the arraignment will be within the hour. But Judge Hanna is downtown right now. BPD in my office are drafting the charges right now, and he will be arraigned tonight. And that charge of murder in the first degree carries with it a life without parole sentence. Now, there are two aspects of the murder in the first degree charge that potentially could be charged here. The one obviously is crystal clear right now. There is a certain subdivision of the murder in the first degree that accounts for multiple individuals getting shot and killed, which is what we have here. As the commissioner said, we have 10 individuals who have unfortunately lost their life, 3 that have been shot but are going to survive, hopefully. There is also a second subsection of the murder in the first degree that has a racial component to it. Obviously, we will investigate that further, I want to make sure right now, though, when I arraign him tonight, my clock is ticking as far as my felony hearing date, which will be 5 days from now. So I want to make sure that I have the best charge right now to hold him in custody and to get this matter moving forward before I add any other charges on. But I can, and if those charges are applicable, which I think they may be, they will be added on. They're not going to increase the punishment at all from a state standpoint. From a state standpoint, it is life without parole, and that's as high as we can go. So I also want to thank my district attorneys across the country who have been texting me and calling me for the past 2 hours. I thank you for your thoughts. I thank you for your prayers. But more importantly, I want everyone to know that my thoughts and prayers are with the family members who have lost loved ones today in the city of Buffalo.
We'll next hear from County Executive Mark Poloncarz and then Congressman Brian Higgins.
And then I'll take any questions at the end.
As has been said by all the others, today is one of the saddest days in the city of Buffalo and Erie County's history. All of the county's resources have been made available as necessary to assist in this unfortunate, horrific act. As the mayor noted, we are the city of good neighbors, and we, of course, are not defined by this act, but how we will come together to support the families of those who have lost. And on behalf of the people of Erie County, I want to offer my deepest condolences to those who've lost a loved one today. Erie County mental health counselors, as well as our partners from the mental health community, are already on site to assist those who may have lost a loved one or those who were a witness to this horrific crime. And as we know, we will offer all resources possible from all parts of county government, whether of course it's the sheriff's office, the district attorney's offices, or the other departments, that to ensure that not only do this individual be prosecuted for this horrible crime and brought to the full extent of justice, but that we also can heal as a community from this traumatic experience.
Well, thank you very much, and let me just say to all of my colleagues in government, our law enforcement community, the eyes of the nation are on Buffalo, and those eyes are full of tears, and they're full of sympathy for the violence and the tragedy that's been exacted on good, innocent people who went to work this morning, said goodbye to their loved ones, expecting fully to return home tonight. 10 people are not going to return home. Their loss, their death, is a loss and a death that's exacted on this community. Our sympathy goes to the families, our thoughts go to the families and to the victims. And I couldn't be more proud of my mayor, my county executive, my district attorney, the U.S. attorney, and all of the elected officials that are here today in the law enforcement community who have coordinated this effort in a highly effective way. So this is something that hopefully we will learn from, something that will serve as a basis from which enacting policy at the federal level get guns out of the hands of those people who should not have guns in their hands. And we hope that time will heal. And we are a good community. We are a giving community. We love our people. We love our diversity. And again, these people were people that for the past 24 months were working in service of others, and people who we called our heroes. And our heroes have been taken down today without justification.
So as we conclude, before we open up for questions, again, I want to express that our deepest and most heartfelt condolences are with the families of those who lost their lives today tragically and unnecessarily. If you would bear with us, we will open up for questions, and then we will conclude in prayer with Father Seil, the fire department chaplain, and our council president, Darius Pridgen.
Mayor, where is the shooter
Questions?
from? Where is the shooter from? You said he drove from.
We're not going to say right now. The state police and the FBI are and the ATF are investigating his residence, so we do not want to state right now where he's from, but he is from a county here in New York State that is hours away.
Can you give us more information?
Wait, Hannah.
Can you give us more information on why you're calling this a hate crime at this point?
There are certain pieces of evidence that we have ascertained in the course of this investigation that indicate some racial animosity. I'm not going to specifically talk about or elaborate on what exactly they are right now, but we have evidence in custody right now that shows that there is some racial component to these alleged actions.
Susan Rose.
What was the weapon, John?
It was an assault weapon.
Was he known to law enforcement?
No, and at this time does not appear.
Can you confirm if there was some sort of manifesto that was published?
I'm not going to confirm that.
Down here.
What?
Hold on,
Your question?
down here.
Will there be an open court for the arraignment?
Well, I mean, probably not, because it's going to happen like right now in closed city court. So, no. The answer is no.
There's
Sorry.
somebody in the back over there.
Could he face federal charges or the death penalty?
All options are on the table. As we go forward with the investigation, we will put every tool in our toolbox to make sure justice is done for the individuals of this horrific crime in our community.
Associated Press.
Yep.
Is part of the evidence, can you talk about the victims? Were the victims all black and the shooter white?
Yes.
Can you?
Let the commissioner respond to that.
So out of the 13 victims, 11 are African American, 2 are white. So there were 4 store employees.
Were those 4 store employees fatally shot?
We have the security guard, who was the retired Buffalo police officer, was fatally shot. 3 other store employees were non-fatal wounds.
Do you have the ages or an age range?
Not right now.
Was the suspect live streaming the shooting?
Yes.
Do you have, where was that live stream?
It was on a social media platform.
John, when was the last time first-degree murder was brought forward to a suspect in Erie County?
I believe it's only been done once in my tenure.
All right, Kelly?
Do you think he was working alone, or could there be other dudes out there like him?
At this point, it appears that he was alone.
Tim?
Social media posts out there, you know, and I can't comment on the
Yeah.
veracity of them. Is there any reason law enforcement should have known who this individual is? Were there concerning posts that were brought to the attention of law enforcement anywhere?
No. At this time, we don't know that.
All right, anyone else?
I want to ask, we see this everywhere else. We never think that it's going to happen here. Congressman Higgins kind of mentioned this, but these people are our neighbors. We see them at the grocery store shopping every day. I mean, that has to be going through each and every single one of your minds right now and when you heard about this.
Of course, and that's why we want to bring justice here. We want to bring justice to every individual who lost their life, to every family member who lost an individual today, to every individual who was a victim of this crime. Not only to the family members, but to the victims themselves. I mean, I learned a long time ago when I was trying homicide cases back in the DA's office 20 years ago that we, in the homicide field, when we're doing a homicide investigation, we speak for the dead. And when we speak for those who have lost their life, we are going to bring them justice, their families justice, and this community justice.
Can you give us more?
Let me respond to that, too. Many of us know this supermarket, this top supermarket on Jefferson Avenue very well. Many of us have been in and out of this supermarket. Our family members have been in and out of this supermarket. Some of us, many of us, know some of those who are victims of this horrific crime. So this is painful. This does hurt. It always hurts. And as the U.S. Attorney, Trini Ross, said, this should not happen in this community and any community anywhere in our country.
Mayor Brown, do you think this will exacerbate racial tensions in this community, even though the shooter wasn't from here?
You know, as we've all said, this is the city of good neighbors. We are a loving community. We are prayerful that this will not exacerbate racial tensions. We can't let an evil person divide this community and an evil person divide our country.
Can I address that, though? What I am hopeful for is that this incident will bring us together, because as stated, this could have been any one of us or any one of our loved ones. We shop on Saturday, we go to supermarkets, we take care of our families, we go to work. And if this should bring us together and not tear us apart. And that's what I'm hoping as we go through the process of justice in this case, that we all band together to let the world know, because I'm getting texts from friends in other countries about this incident today. And we need to let the world know who Buffalo is, who the people in Buffalo are, and what we're going to do for our community and other communities in this great nation to make sure this type of crime is stopped.
What are the
One more.
Is this the
Hannah, go ahead, one more.
largest mass casualty event in the city?
I'm sorry?
Is this the
Commissioner.
largest mass casualty event in Buffalo?
As long as I can remember, yes.
Anyone else?
What are the age ranges of the people that have passed?
Yeah, we're not going to get that right now.
Can you just tell us a little bit more about the timeline of how he was taken into custody? How long between the time this attack started and the time that it ended was he taken into custody, and did it take police to get there?
I don't have the exact answer on the time. We'll look into that, but it was a very fast response by our patrol officers who immediately went inside the supermarket, did not hesitate, went right inside.
Was the shooter speaking when he was live streaming?
We can't comment on that.
All right. We're going to conclude with prayer. Father Paul.
Father Paul Sile, and then Council President and Bishop Darius
So
Bridges.
everyone wants to join together here in prayer?
At a time like this, we go to our deeper spiritual selves, whether we believe in God, whether we don't, whether we're Christian or Jewish or Islamic or any other faith or not faith. There is something that unites us all together as human beings. As this terrible incident has torn at the heart of this community.
As authorities are now praying for all of the victims involved, we now continue to bring you all the latest details that we can, with 10 people dead, 3 others still injured from this mass shooting that happened at a Tops supermarket in Buffalo, New York, just hours ago. In case you're just now joining the stream, I've got my producer, Mike Bell, now joining me at the big board for some of the very latest details. Mike?
All right, Nick, thank you. So here's what we know so far, everybody, actually. So here's what we know so far. There's one suspect. The one suspect is in custody. Name, no idea, not released yet. Age, not released yet as well. So here's what we know. We are hours away from here. Hold on real quick. Sorry. We were having some cross audio issues there for a second. So this is hours away from New York City proper, but still Buffalo, New York, from what I understand. The authorities are believing that this is related to race. They believe this is a hate crime in its origins, that this is motivated by basically a supremacist ideology of some kind. What that is exactly, they have not said. We still have no details on the suspect. All we know about the suspect is that it's a he, and he is alive. That's all we really know. So I'm still reading off my notes here from the press conference that we just finished. Well, it's still ongoing, but they're basically going to a communal prayer. So from what we understand, the suspect used an assault weapon of some kind, AR-15, perhaps something else, we don't know, but they described it as an assault weapon. But they can't give out too many details yet as to it is being investigated by the federal authorities as a hate crime. There is a manifesto. The suspect released a manifesto, which, you know, a number of serial killers, terrorists have released manifestos similarly over the years online, or they send them to the newspapers and to TV as well, kind of detailing, this is why I did it, this was my goal, this was my objective. We have not seen that manifesto yet, but they are saying that one has been released. I was looking online because usually, not to brag, but I kind of know some of the websites to look at to find these things after they happen. I have not had any luck yet, but the manifesto, I'm sure, will surface eventually, and whatever its contents are, we can debate about it then. So they also asked some reporters saying, is he eligible for the death penalty? Which, admittedly, not to not to belittle the reporter who asked that question, but New York has no death penalty. As for the federal death penalty, because this could easily equivocate to a federal crime, because of the whole hate crime thing is a federal crime, that's still so far away to be determined. So we shall see. Possible? Yes. But likely? Who knows? Another interesting tidbit here. One of the 10 people, we believe there have been 10 people killed so far. And we believe 3 people were also injured but are recuperating. But from what we learned from this conference here is that one retired police officer was killed, unfortunately. Also, and again, we have no video, we have no evidence of this, but this is what the authorities said, that the suspect was live streaming during his attack on the supermarket, meaning maybe he had a cell phone or a GoPro or something like that, and he had fixed it up to a live stream of some kind, whatever service he may have used, to show his acts as he was carrying them out. Unfortunately, dare I say, this is not the first time that has happened. I have seen such videos. I believe there was an attack on a synagogue in New York 4 or 5 years ago where a shooter did something similar. So that's nothing new there, but of course it is nothing but despicable. The special agent, one of the people who briefed, I believe he's kind of in the middle, not the white shirt, but behind the man in the suit and tie there in the background. Stephen Bologna is a special agent with the FBI. He said, we speak for the dead, meaning they are trying to find out and get justice for those who have died and for those who have been injured. And I kind of found that quote a little bit inspirational. But from the time range, they couldn't give a time range as to when the initial call came in and to when police arrived, and then maybe possibly state or federal forces arrived for a mass shooting. That's all we really know, but all they said is there was a very fast response. So Nick, that is what we know right now. It looks like we are now back in their newscast. So Nick, I'm going to leave it to you, but Nick, that's what we got.
All right, of course, producer Mike Bell there. Thank you so much for breaking that down for us. Let's now listen in to that station's coverage. Again, this is going to be coming out directly from the news team on the ground there. Let's listen in.
Representative of the FBI confirming that it is being investigated as a hate crime. And when pressed about that, John Flynn said that he's not going to get into details, but there is evidence that shows there is a racial component here. Now, if you are looking online, you may have seen that there are reports that this suspect has written some sort of manifesto that has white supremacist tendencies. I have not seen this, but this is what I have also been seeing online. We have not seen that independently verified. As well, this whole thing, as you heard from Joe Gramalia, was live streamed. And what I've been told is that there is racist, hateful language that is on some of his paraphernalia. So again, 13 people shot and 10 deceased. I want to get you the White House statement. The White House has been in touch with the mayor's office, but here it is. The president has been briefed by his Homeland Security advisor on the horrific shooting in Buffalo, New York this afternoon. He will continue to receive updates throughout the evening and tomorrow as further information develops. The president and the first lady are praying for those who have been lost and for their loved ones. Ed Drench has been out reporting from the scene since about an hour after this shooting happened. He's been there for hours now. Ed, you listened to that news conference. Bring us up to speed on what you're hearing and what you're seeing.
Yeah. Ashley, I want to give you a sense of the emotion here at the scene. You can hear people yelling around me. To hear that this is a hate crime and being investigated as a hate crime, for the many people who are here, this racial component only adds fuel to the fire. There is a genuine concern that a white man came into this community to shoot black people. And that's the biggest concern here. And I want to give you an idea of the goosebump moment here. Behind me, in front of the Tops, on Jefferson Avenue, sits a gurney. That gurney is empty. But there are 10 people who will be carried out of this supermarket, who will be carried away on these gurneys to the medical examiner's office, shot and killed by this white man who, as you mentioned, had some sort of manifesto. And I want to make sure that we're zooming out here just so we can respect the privacy and not show you that gruesome moment, but certainly it gives you an idea of the magnitude of the situation here. 13 people shot, 3 surviving, 10 dead by a man who came from many hours away, targeting a community now being investigated as a hate crime. And for the people who are still here, still trying to gather information and details, emotions are high. This is a very tense situation for this community, where guns are already a problem, and the people who were here watching and listening made that known. The people who are here, we heard from those Western New York, that Western New York peacemaker right before that news conference started with all those elected officials, Ashley. They want blood. They are out for blood. That is his word. And it's our job now as a community to say, that's not okay. And it's our job to say, let's slow down, let's regroup, and let experience tell us that this storm will pass, but we need to have that conversation now, that peacemaker said, about what's going on in this community. Mayor Byron Brown had this to say moments ago.
This is the worst nightmare that any community can face. And we are hurting and we are seething right now as a community. The depth of pain that families are feeling and that all of us are feeling right now cannot even be explained.
So the pain is real here in this community. This pain is palpable. We spoke to a man hours ago at this point who said that his mother was inside this Tops supermarket, confronted by that shooter, that man, that white man who came here into this community targeting black people, according to the mayor and all of those other high figureheads, high-ranking officials in the city of Buffalo, targeting this community. And that woman, according to this man that I spoke with, was begging for her life. And at this point, we don't know anything about that woman's condition, but we do know 10 people were killed here, 3 others hurt, and by all means, a security guard, a hero in this case, doing all he can to protect the people who were inside. I spoke to a number of people here who said that they were just trying to get Saturday dinner. And when you consider that, when you put that into perspective, all of these people here doing something so innocently, targeted, gunned down, killed. Ashley.
It is absolutely so hard to hear the details of what happened, especially hearing how the security guard, a beloved longtime employee at the Tops and a retired police officer,
All right, it looks like we do have just lost our feed there. Again, that was WBKW there on the ground. They are a local Buffalo, New York TV station right there. They live in that community. They report on that community every single day. We're going to go ahead and now take a look and try to see, hold on just for a second, if we get that feed refreshed at any point. But you just got done hearing from the latest from officials there and attorneys, and the mayor gathered all there, and local congressmen as well, to speak out about this tragedy happening in their community. Now, we do have a...
Thank you. I
for some of the
appreciate
latest
you.
updates, we're gonna
Obviously,
send you
more
back to
questions
my
than answers,
producer,
and we will
Mike Bell,
hope to get
over there,
answers in the
standing
coming days
at the
and
board
weeks
with
ahead,
a
Ashley.
few new updates. Mike, is there anything new you're seeing?
Do we have audio? Do we have audio at the scene, but no video? Okay, just making sure. Okay, so hey, everybody. Unfortunately, again, another tragic shooting, mass shooting here today that we have to bring to you on Local News Live. Going to bring you the latest updates from 13 minutes ago from CNN and all of our affiliates out in the U.S. FBI says the Buffalo shooting, again, we believe the latest numbers, 13 have been shot, 10 have died, and 3 are hospitalized with severe, life-threatening, maybe not life-threatening injuries. Their status is not currently known to us, but we do know 10 have died, 3 are injured and are currently hospitalized. We know that the suspect of this shooting is in custody. No word on if he is injured. We do know it's a he. They keep referring to him as a he, so we're going to assume it's a he. We've seen some photos, we've seen some video on social media, but we can't verify any of that. So I'm going by what we know from the facts so far, what we can verify from the authorities and whatnot. So Saturday's mass shooting in Buffalo at a supermarket store has been investigated as a hate crime. Now, accordingly and supposedly, and this was from the authorities, the suspect, the alleged killer, has a manifesto that he released online about why he did what he did. Apparently, it is racially motivated. Also, he was streaming his shooting, meaning he had maybe a GoPro or a cell phone camera or something, meaning on some website somewhere, we don't know what, we don't know where, but that he apparently, while he was performing this shooting, that it was all recorded and being streamed live on social media, which I feel comfortable in saying that's pretty disturbing. So from what we understand, it's going to be investigated as a hate crime because of the manifesto and because of some other social media posts by the suspect. The suspect's name, we have no idea. The age, we have no idea. All we know is it's a he, and he is in custody. Let's check out a little bit more here. Buffalo shooting suspect had tactical gear and was heavily armed, according to the police commissioner. Joseph Gramagila said the supermarket shooting suspect was wearing tac gear and live streaming as he entered the store at approximately 2:30 today. So this is in New York, so it would have been 3:30 our time here central. So this was less than 2 hours ago, and already we have this amount of information. So we can already tell, hats off to the authorities for trying to keep all of the media and thus all of you updated as much as possible. 2:30 today, an individual who the mayor stated is not from this area. That's another note. I have this written down in my notes. Apparently the suspect is from hours away, whatever that means, possibly elsewhere in New York State, maybe from somewhere else. But I don't believe the suspect, I don't believe he is from Buffalo itself. Drove to Buffalo, went to the Tops Market, which we looked this up. I'm not from New York. Nick isn't from New York. Tops, pretty popular grocery store chain in the area. All right, so right now we're going to go back to Nick and we're going to see what else is going on.
Yes, thank you so much, Mike. I was signaling at you because it looks like that feed has been restored to us. Never mind, we've lost that feed once again. No, once again, that's all right. We don't have any new details as of right yet. That was the very latest news conference from authorities. So anytime we get any new details, any new news conferences, any new live reports, we'll bring that for you right here on Local News Live. We bring you live local news, and we have more than 120 local grade TV stations across the nation, and we bring all of that to you right now. And you can watch us by going to any of those great TV stations' websites by clicking on the Watch Live. That's where we will be as long as that local station isn't already in one of their newscasts or in special breaking news coverage. Now, once again, we'll be ending this Facebook Live soon if you're joining us on there right now. And if you're joining us on the live stream, we'll be taking just a short break soon. But for now, we just want to wish you all, please stay safe out there. And thank you for staying with us in these terrifying moments as this information comes to us. Take care, everyone.
Streaming 24/7, your